Hey, how's it going? And today we are taking a look at setting up a basic PBR texture in LightWave with Octane. And this actually is kind of a remake of this LightWave and Octane PBR texturing tutorial that was done about a year ago by LightWave Salvation. The first step in getting started with this is getting an HDRI image and some textures to work with. So to do that, we can just go to this website called Polyhaven, and they actually have quite a few cool assets that are free to use, and you can see samples of them here on their homepage. It kind of scrolls through them. It's really a great resource. Some of these look really incredible. So anyway, you can just come in here. We'll go to Browse HDRI and just pick one. I don't know which one to get here. I was thinking of doing like a brick thing, a brick wall or a brick block. Why don't we just get this one here, this evening field. And right up here you can see it's 4K EXR download, about 20 megabytes, not too bad. So I'll just click that and it'll go ahead and download that. And then I'll come back in here and we'll find a texture. And I said a brick wall I was planning on doing. So here's one right here. Brick wall. So that looks good. And again, this is 4K. It says Blender. This should be fine. And did I say the word? Okay, and we'll go ahead and download that in B. Okay, and that's the first step. And then we will have those, of course, extracted and in their own folder. So that's the starting point right there. So let's go ahead and jump into LightWave and we'll take it from there. Okay, so here we are in Modeler 2023 and we're going to get this party started. So all we're going to do is make a simple box. So I'll click on box, left click and drag, click there. Just a basic box. I should be making probably a wall, but I'm just making a box. And then I'm just going to press F3, rest it on the ground, and there we go. And we need a UV map. That's one of the things about working with putting a textured image on in Octane, is that we need a UV map. So that's easy enough to do. So I'm going to come over, let me drop my tool, hit spacebar. I'm going to come over here to the top view, and I'm just going to go to UV texture so I can see what's going on. I'll click in this window, the upper left, and hit A and kind of zoom in there a little bit. And we'll come up here to the UV tab. We're going to go Make UV. We want this to be Atlas, and linear is fine. And we'll go Create. And there it is. Now notice when I make the map, it doesn't take advantage of the full area that we have, so we want to fix that. So I'm just going to go into modify here and go to the size tool and click here and then just click and drag and maximize that like that. So we're getting our maximum space. And that's it. And then I'm just going to go ahead and save object as, and I'm going to call this box 3 because I've been through this a few times today. And we'll go save. Well, maybe it doesn't like that. Did I already have another box 3? So let me save object as. I guess I got to do box 4. I didn't want to override anything. So box 4. Okay, good. So now what we do is we're just going to go ahead and send that object to layout, and there it is. Now the first thing we're going to do is we're going to click on the Octane tab, and we'll come over here to Octane Render. Go continue, and I want to enable the plugin, and just so that you can be sure that you're on the same page as I am, I'm going to go back in here and let's just look at the plugin options real fast. So I have the GPU, I have everything set to high, that's use priority, high on this one, and debug, let's go up here. Yes, and then these are all my settings right here, and auto core. So Kind of looking at them again. I only have one GPU, and so we'll go OK. So those were all my settings. And then we're good to go there. So what we're going to use is we're going to use an HDR to light the scene. And so we're going to take care of that first. And then we're going to apply 4 texture maps or 4 texture images onto this. And then we're going to play around with some settings and see if we can't get it looking pretty good. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to go to render target here and open editor. And I did a tutorial about this before, but you can just think of this as the global settings for the scene. Because if you look at what we've got over here, we've got the camera, the environment, the imager, the kernel, the post-processing, the render passes, and all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to click this and right click, and we're just going to go to default setup. I can turn my scroll wheel and zoom out. If I press Alt, I can move around. And this is the one that we're the most interested in right here, is this environment node here. So what we're going to do is I'm going to select it and right click, and where it says node menu, we want this texture image node. And then we're just going to double click into this, and we're going to go ahead and load up. Well, I have this in a different folder, so I want this one right here, and we'll go open. And you'll see it come in right here. And then all we have to do is plug this in to here. Now, since we're here and I don't want to come back here, there are a couple settings on here that we want to adjust. So if I double click into the image, you'll see we have power and gamma. And just from having played around with this before, I'm going to set this power to 0.3 and I'm going to set the gamma to 1. But these are 2 of the settings that you might want to play around with. Okay, so those are 2 of them right there. And that is pretty much all we need to do in here. So I'll just close this window because I don't need it anymore. Now what we can do is go in and apply our images. So I'm going to go into the surface editor here, and where it says Principled BSDF, we're going to switch that to Octane Universal Material. We're going to click into the Edit Node Graph. Then I'm going to go ahead and delete that. And what we need is we need the Octane texture image right here. And I know I need 4 of these, so I'm just going to hit Control C, and then I'm going to go Control V, Control V, Control V. And so I've got 4 images here because I know there's 4 textures that we need to import in here. Kind of have them overlapping here, but that's okay. So on the first one is going to be our albedo. So I'm going to double click into here, and I'm just going to load that image. Click here. I want this brick wall. And these were actually the ones we wanted. So this is the diffuse, so I'll click, that's the one I want right there. And it comes in. And just for the ease, I'm just going to go ahead and load all these images up right now. So we'll double click into this one, go load this image. So that is here. And notice these are EXR images. And then this one is going to be our displacement. Our displacement right here. Okay, so now we've got that all set up. Since we're here, I'm going to adjust this setting right now because I know it needs to be adjusted. I'm going to click on this universal material thing. And you see where it has specularity at 100%. We don't want that. So I'm just going to set that to 0. We can leave the roughness at, I don't know why it's at that percentage, 6.3. So that's a third setting that we can adjust, right, is specularity. And then all we got to do is just plug things in here. So we're going to put this into albedo. This is roughness. And so roughness, of course, is going to go into roughness. And the normal goes into normal. For the displacement, we actually need another node over here. So we go to Octane Displacements, click Displacement here, and we just gotta back this up here, and we'll put this into Texture, and then we'll put this into Displacement. And that's all of the settings. The only other one here is on this Octane texture image. If I double click on it, here's another setting that we might want to play around with. And so you just have to, we'll just come back and kind of flavor this to taste, but I think if I just put 0 in there and let's see, maybe 0.3 or something like that, the same as I did on the other, and we'll see what that looks like, so we can bump that up later. And that's all of our settings right there. So now I can just minimize this, minimize that, and now we can go into Octane IPR and click it and see what we see. I'm just going to move my camera here, and just so I can get a little bit different angle on this here. So there is our, maybe what I'm going to do is maybe scoot it back down this way a little bit and turn that way. I can actually rotate the object itself, so let me try that. I want to kind of look at it from an angle so we can see some different lighting on it. And if we hit F9, F9 isn't doing it for me, so I'm just going to go ahead and hit render frame. I actually think that looks pretty good for, you know, right out of the box pretty much. I actually think that looks really good. That does it for me. That's how to get a pretty nice image out of this thing. So now that you're in here, you can pretty much just do, you know, whatever you want to do as far as going back and tweaking those settings and adjustments and things like that. But you would just follow the same procedure on other materials, adjusting those settings that I talked about earlier. So anyway, I hope you found this helpful. Take care, have a great day, and I'll talk to you next time.